UFC 257, Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor, number 2. It's the rematch. We got the Diamond versus the Notorious one, man. And before we get into all of the sparks, all of the good stuff that's about to take place this weekend, we need to do a little bit of recap. But before we do that, of course, I need to introduce you to my co-host, AJ. How you living, bro?
Hey man, I'm living real well. Derick, how you been living, man?
I'm living good, man. This has been such a busy week. I don't remember the last time that we had 3 fights within the span of 7 days. So obviously it's been a lot of catching up, watching a bunch of film and just trying to squeeze things in. But we here and we ready to rock, man. So let's get into just a tad bit of recap before we get into all of the good stuff, man. Since, like I said, there was a bunch of events going on. UFC UFC Fight Island 7 and UFC Fight Island 8 are the ones that just took place. So we had Holloway versus Cater as the main event on this one, and then Fight Island 8 we had Michael Chiesa versus Neil Magny. But what I wanted to recap really quickly was just Max Holloway, man. Dude put on the show of shows. He had the best performance of his career, which nobody really thought was possible. At least I didn't at this stage. What were your thoughts on his, I think it was like 440 significant strikes landed on Calvin Kattar? What was your takeaway for that?
Well, I mean, it showed the growth of Max Holloway even getting better. You know what I'm saying? And he's I think what helped him the most is taking his mind off of it outside of the ring. He was saying the whole time, you come to my stream, there's no fight talk allowed. And I mean, it impressed me because, man, you saw him go Super Saiyan mode where he was just dipping and dodging, and not many people can do that. It's super impressive when it does happen, and nonetheless on ABC for national TV, man, it only made, at least in my book, Max's Holloway stock rises through the roof. Very impressive to see. What were your takeaways?
Well, legitimately, like you said, it was UFC's debut on ABC. Max Holloway had the spirit of Muhammad Ali in him. At least that's what it felt like, man. And I talked about on our show, I believe it was episode number 21 or 22, I talked about saying, listen, man, Max Holloway, here's all these reasons why he should win this fight, but sometimes you got to risk it because you want to win big, man. And I picked Kattar for that reason, but it's crazy just because to do something like what Max Holloway did to an opponent like Kattar, that's what brings it over the top for me. If it was just some average Joe, all right, cool. Calvin Kattar, man, New England Cartel, you did that to him. Hats off to you, Max Holloway, man, and that's the people's champ. I don't care what anyone says. Run it back with Volkanovski. Max Holloway is the champion right now, at least in my book. Now, the other one that I want to get to, obviously, Chiesa versus Magny. It wasn't a very entertaining fight. It was Chiesa wrestling him for 5 rounds, which is cool in my book because I picked Chiesa. But I want to talk about Omari Akhmedov versus Tom Breeze, man. These are 2 prospects that we have talked about on this show. I don't think the MMA fandom, the casuals, I don't think they know about it, but we have definitely talked about this. We both picked Tom Breeze on this one, and we were both very, very wrong, man. Omari Akhmedov went from, I'm going to go and smash you to I get caught in the calf slicer to I arm triangled you and got you out of there, man. I'm going to give you my take really quickly first, man. Tom Breeze, sometimes these nights happen, man. You know what I mean? You're a big striker, big Englishman, a lot of pressure on you, you know what I mean? All that good stuff. And sometimes the Omari Akhmedovs come in and they steamroll you in the first round. And that's the name of the fight game, man. Do you have any takes on this one?
Man, like you said it, bro. It was basically a steamrolling. I mean, I'm a big Tom Breeze fan, and I think he nails you perfect, man. You're going to sleep. And I think the big takeaway from me was how impressive Akhmedov looked in the transition. I mean, Tom Breeze almost caught him with 4 or 5 different, heel hooks, reverse heel hooks, different sort of, like you said, a calf slicer, man. When's the last time we saw a calf slicer in the UFC? So it was super impressive that Akhmedov was able to roll with every single thing, predict what was coming, and actually, like you said, put him to sleep. He tapped, evidently. But if he wasn't going to tap, he was going to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Even I remember the ref messing with the arm, like, are you? It was good. It was a crazy fight, man. So it was cool to see how people can evolve and roll in the ring like that.
I agree, man. So it's been somewhat of a tumultuous start for the AFC camp, man, but we're here, we're alive, man. So overall, for our accountability session here, man, I'm 5-7. AJ, you've gone 6 for 6 through the first 2 events in the 2021, new year, man. So listen, if you 50% or better, you can't complain. I got a little work to do, but listen, you in our right spot, man. So let's get into some sleepers. You went first on the last episode, so I would like to go first on this one if you don't mind, man. I'm gonna make it short, sweet, and to the point. Now, the first sleeper, and these are all going to be prelims on these pay-per-view bouts so everyone could tune in, man. You can go catch it on ESPN. But my first sleeper is Khalil, the Warhorse Roundtree versus Marcin Prachnio, and they're fighting at 205 pounds, man. So this is a light heavyweight bout. And listen, man, Roundtree, he's had a very up and down, start to his UFC career. He's 4-4 with a 1-no contest in the UFC. And listen, I think that his potential far outweighs what his record shows right now. Plain and simple. We saw from 2016 to 2018, we saw the Khalil Roundtree, the prospect. In 2019, right, I think it was actually like April of 2019, we saw Bangkok ready Khalil Roundtree, the one who made his MMA home Thailand, where he started training out of Tiger Muay Thai. So ultimately, listen, man, I don't know which version of this man is going to show up because he did just get knocked out in his last fight, but it's clear that this man lives and dies by the knockout. 63% of his wins by KO, 50% of the losses by KO. Come on, man. The next guy, Marcin Prachnio, like I said, who he's facing off, he's been 0-3 in the UFC. He's been knocked out in every single one of his fights, but he came into the UFC with 10 knockouts, man. So the reason why this is a sleeper, it's very clear. There's one thing we know for sure. Someone is going to sleep. Two power punchers who need to get a little of that confidence back, man. We'll see how it goes. Tune into that one. Who's your first sleeper, AJ?
Yeah, man. I'm very excited for that one too, Derick. And also for reasons for this one, man, I got Nick Lentz versus Movsar Evloev. Now, first up, I got Nick Lentz. He's an old school fighter who's kind of been forgotten about by the casual new fans, especially, seems to be the case with how many fights the UFC has been pumping out recently, not just in the last week, too. Mm-hmm. Now, Movsar Evloev, he's an undefeated Russian fighter who's, starting to make real big waves in the 145-pound division. And what got my attention, and I know you're also a fan, Derick, but Evloev trains out of Tiger Muay Thai.
Come on, man.
And a whole lot of them fighting out of them this camp, or this card, excuse me. And we all know that camp brings a lot of heat. So, this is a sleeper fight for me because it's an old, scrappy veteran who needs to stay relevant versus the young, hungry prospect looking for any chance he can to eat. And so, those stories like that got me excited. What's your second sleeper?
Right on, man. So my second sleeper, and this is going to be my last sleeper, we're only doing two apiece on this one, folks. So it's not quite the featured prelim, but it's the one right before the featured prelim. I got Brad Tavares facing off against Antonio Carlos Jr. Now, Brad Tavares, that sounds familiar to me. I'm sure it does to you, but I feel like most people that are like, even longtime UFC fans are like, that sounds familiar, but who is that guy, right? Listen, Brad Tavares, man, I think the reason for this is because he's a decision fighter. Dude's got 10 decisions on his record, man. Just fought a lot in the UFC, and every time that the moment got really, really high, you fought the who's who, he lost. And that's just, kind of what happens. You become the dude who make other people's career as opposed to making your own. So he's lost to the likes of Edmund Shabazian, Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker, Tim Boach, and Yoel Romero. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your place. Not everyone could be the star in the UFC. Some people got to make them, like I just said. So this dude is a big puncher, though, man. He's technical, and he's not just going to go away easy. And this is why this is a sleeper, is because Antonio Carlos Jr. actually called Brad Tavares out. He said, I actually asked for this fight, and I'm super ready, man. They was actually they were on the same flight to Fight Island together. So how awkward is that? Luckily, they weren't sitting next to each other, but how awkward is that? You know what I mean? It's like you're about to just go and fight this dude in a week, and you just sit next to each other, bad blood a little bit. But listen, the reason why this is a sleeper is because Antonio Carlos Jr., he grew up in the UFC, man. He made his UFC debut at 4-0, and now he's sitting at 11-4-0, 7-4 in the UFC with 1-no contest. He has 8 submission wins, and that is exactly why I like this matchup, is because you have a submission specialist with 0 knockouts on his record versus a decision fighter, a point fighter to a degree that still got pop in his shots, man. So it's the perfect clash of styles. Antonio Carlos Jr. trains at ATT, at American Top Team, and Brad Tavares trains at Extreme Couture, man. So it's like, come on, we got really highly touted individuals going against each other and these camps as well. So that's my last sleeper. Tune in for that one as well. Should be a really, really good scrap. What's your last sleeper, AJ?
Man, next up for my last sleeper, Derick, it kind of goes along along the lines what you were saying. I got Arman, and excuse the names. I'm going to mispronounce these. I watch a lot of the fights without a sound. But anyway, I got Arman Tutskayan versus Nasrat Hakparest. Very difficult names. But either way, we have another Tiger Muay Thai another Tiger Muay Thai fighter in Tutsayan with a very impressive 15-2 record versus a very, very dangerous German fighter who's fighting at a TriStar. Like you said, these both fighters are both out of very big camps. Now, both of these fighters, another thing that keeps them in common is they're also looking for wins of notoriety. They've beat some people in the UFC, lost to really big names, and haven't necessarily won against the big name fighters. Now they're both looking and they're both hungry. And coming from big camps like we said, Tiger Muay Thai and TriStar, it's kind of a double-edged sword because either you live up to the hype of that camp or you get left in the dust. Now, I believe this fight's going to be a sleeper for exactly that. It's going to have to be exciting out of necessity for these two gentlemen to stay relevant in a fast-moving media scene. When you got Conor on the card, you got to be exciting to get a little bit of peg space. I don't know. But next up, or actually, sorry about that. That's my last one, Derick.
Well, there we go, man. Well, let's get into it. We'll go straight and easy. We'll start off with the first bout on the main card. We got number 8 ranked Marina Rodriguez facing off against number 10th ranked Amanda Ribas fighting at women's strawweight, 115 pounds. And AJ, if you don't mind, let me just set the table for it real quick, man. Rodriguez, she's coming off a split decision loss against former strawweight champ, Carla Esparza, where she was taken out 5 times and never really had an answer for Esparza other than elbows off her back or, just little stuff like that. And ultimately, man, being that Rodriguez is a very effective striker, Esparza basically just showed a huge hole in her game. You know what I'm saying? And fighting Amanda Ribas, who is she's a striker. She's a submission specialist, but she got some hands too. This is going to be a really dangerous bout for both fighters. Now, Rodriguez, she's 2-1-2 in her last 5, and those 2 draws were to Cynthia Calvillo and Randa Marcos, man. So she's kind of fought some legit competition, man. She's fought more or less the who's who of the strawweight division, man. So, listen, Amanda Ribas, I don't know when's the last time I heard a fighter that was hyped as much as she has been without necessarily proving it. I'm not saying she's unproven, but she's not quite proven yet, and this fight might be able to do it. Now, Ribas, who trains out of Marcelo Ribas' team and American Top Team, both those camps, she was originally slated to fight Carla Esparza. Now, take that into consideration. Carla Esparza, then Michelle Waterson, both of those fights fell through, and now she's facing Marina Rodriguez. So it goes to show that both of these fighters are very highly touted in their own regard. Now, ultimately, man, let the media tell it. Amanda Ribas is a monster on the feet, on the ground, wherever it goes. She's just crown her champion if you're letting the media tell it, right? But I think Marina Rodriguez has the striking edge in this one. Ribas has the submission edge in this one, and this is going to be a scrap of scraps. This could be a fight of the night candidate right here, man. So let's basically get straight into it, man. Marina Rodriguez has about 3-inch height advantage, 5'6" to 5'3", but she actually has a reach disadvantage by 1 inch, man. So I want to ask you, after her last bout where she claimed that it was just a bad year, 2020, she only fought once in 2020 as opposed to 3 fights in 2019, 2 fights in 2018, 4 fights in 2017, only 1 in 2020. Her coach got COVID, couldn't coach her. She lost to Carla Esparza. Are you anticipating a bounce back performance from Marina Rodriguez, or do you think confidence might be shot, being that, hey, if I get, put on my back, if I get put on my butt, it's going to be a long, long night? What are you thinking?
I mean, personally, Derick, I think what comes into play with that one, and you might agree to this, is how much is that excuse an actual excuse versus, well, is it a lie that she actually made and she's in her head knows that she's not that good and has that confidence issue? Or is it a legitimate, genuine excuse? Like, she put in all the work, she's been training hard, doing all the extracurricular stuff, not making an excuse, but really it's a reason that something happened. Personally, I think, it sounds like a lot of the violin. And I mean, like you said, man, Carla Esparza laid the groundwork for it. She made it look very easy for the smaller fighter just to duck under, shoot that double leg, take her down. And Marina Rodriguez, she did stay active on her back. She was throwing elbows. She was going for stuff. So necessarily the ref didn't want to pull her up. But, I mean, you said it before, Derick, you stay on your back the whole time. It's not a good look for the judges. And, I mean, scoring that fight without, media presence or even the commentators stuff, I had Rodriguez up whenever the whole fight was on their feet. The second she gets taken down and staying on her back, she loses the fight instantly. But she was very dangerous, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I think going up against Ribas, we saw it in the media, man, she is hyped to fight. And I think what comes back to it is this is like you can see the childhood excitement in her. And like she was saying, she's like, I used to do this as a kid, you know. And now that the fans are back, it's even more exciting. And I think that youthful exuberance that she alludes is going to be kind of her pushing her thing that pushes her forward, and it makes for a dangerous fight for the both. What about you? What do you think about that?
Well, you know what, man? I think that I want to hit on what you just said about Amanda Hebos. One of the most marketable aspects about her is her bubbly personality, right? Always laughing, smiling. You know, she got this very like tiny voice for someone who's like a fighter, right? But when she fights, man, she got a mean streak, dude. Like she like turns a switch on, and now she's doing the little things that separates her from the pack. So she'll get you in a sprawl, and then she'll turn the sprawl into a submission attempt. And if she doesn't get that, and it's just kind of like a stalemate 50-50 position, now she's just smashing elbows into your face, doing whatever she can, man. I really like that aspect about her, and I think that one thing that, you know, will be interesting to see between Rodriguez and Amanda Hebos is that on the feet, where you said that, you know, Rodriguez really, she was winning the fight against Esparza on the feet. They both have the same mentality in terms of what they want to do to their opponent. So I don't know if you noticed it, but Marina Rodriguez, when she had Carla Esparza on the feet, she says, well, I'm going to cut the cage off, and I'm going to put your back against the fence, and then I'm going to try to just pick you apart. And she does with those long strikes that she hits you on the end of them. They're straight and they're long, and they hit on the ends of the punches. Amanda Hebos does the same exact thing. She tries to take, so for example, I just watched the, I believe it was, not Tisha Torres. I just watched one of these Amanda Hebos fights. It was like 2 fights ago. Let me see. Let me look at this real fast. I got
Dern?
Tisha, Randa Marcos. Wow, redhead. Sorry about that. Randa Marcos, right? I'm watching that fight, and I'm seeing, okay, well, Randa Marcos, she's against the cage the whole time, but Amanda Hebos, one thing that she does is she likes to get in firefights, man. She already said it. She was all like, I already got submission wins. I've got point wins. I want to knock somebody out. Now, that's my thing. If you're thinking I want to knock you out, you're going into the firefight, that's not a good look against Marina Rodriguez, who, like I said, no fat on the punches, straight coming at you. Let me ask you, in that situation, who do you think is going to be on the fence, and who's going to be leading the dance?
Well, it's a great question you bring up, Derick, and I was going to ask you. It kind of leads into what I was going to think. And I definitely think Hebos is going to lead the dance. You know, when you're getting full pressure and your shots aren't necessarily hurting her, and if you've ever seen how she looks, Amanda Hebos, if you've ever seen how she looks in the media versus how she looks in the cage, it's literally the most game face I've ever seen any woman competitor. It's actually impressive, and she looks mean. You don't want to step in front of that little 5'3" girl, bro. She's gonna knock you out. Yeah. But what I think what you were alluding to before. What's the I get my question for you, Derick, sorry, is what's the one aspect of a point fighter doesn't want to face?
Pressure, I would assume.
Pressure. You nailed it right on the head, man. When you're trying to just throw those punches at the end and actually connect with somebody's just a little in on it, and you're not able to actually hit them where you want to, that pressure, that dogfight, that scrappiness that the Brazilians bring, that Amanda Hebos is looking for that knockout, is exactly what you don't want as a pressure fighter. In the chaos, you want to slow things down, calm it down, and pick your shots. You know, precision them. You want to be able to drop them. And then my question, you already answered it, was precision, but was the pressure, but what does Amanda Hebos need to do to separate herself from the pack? Because that's the big thing for me. Because she does, like you said, she has a submission, she has the points, she's looking for the KO. But in the 115-pound class, what else? You know, what can she do to actually get noticed? Because she's on a 5-fight win streak right now, taking out a lot of Mackenzie Dern, Randa Marcos, Paige Van Zandt, three of the top 3 ladies in her last fight. What can she do?
I'll tell you exactly what she could do, man. If she dominates Marina Rodriguez, if she dominates her, right? I'm talking on the feet and on the ground. That's it. There's nothing else you could do. She's at the top of the top, man. So I don't know if you saw, she was Amanda Hebos. The rankings really don't mean much, right? But she was slated at number 9. She just got knocked back to number 10 just because of inactivity, you know what I mean? Not fighting or whatever, right? But you beat Marina Rodriguez, who is ranked number 8, you know what I'm saying? I think that you get bumped up to the top 5, and I think next thing you know, she's fighting for a title. 6 fights in a row. If she wins them in impressive fashion, if she adds a knockout on top of it, she has 2 submission wins in the UFC and 2 decision wins. So 2 decisions, 2 submissions, and a knockout. You're getting a title shot, man. And can she beat Weili Zhang right now? Weili Zhang? I don't think so. But I definitely think that she's going to be a contender in this division for a long time, man. I think that Amanda Hebos is going to make some noise. So, listen, man, on the feet, it's too close to call, and that's what's dangerous. On the ground, we know Hebos has the edge. Who's your pick and why?
I'm going Hebos, KO round 2, because I do think Marina Rodriguez will be able to put it off for a little bit, stay in. They'll test each other out a little bit, and then I think that dog's gonna come out in round 2, and it's gonna be something fun to watch. What about you? Who you got?
So I haven't remembered to bring this segment into this show in a couple episodes. But listen, man, I'm going decision, 3-round war, and this is my pick for performance of the night, fight of the night, whatever you want to call it. This is going to be my pick for that one. So, and Amanda Kibos is who I have winning. I'm sorry, that was a completely jumbled way. But anyways, all right, let's move on to the next one, man. So next one, man, this is actually, I'm so excited for this fight. This is Matt Steamroller Fravolda facing off against Ottman the Bulldozer Azatar, man. And listen, I don't need to say much about this other than Ottman Azatar. He's a lightweight, 155 pounds. That's what we're talking about right now. And he's the most deceiving dude who will smash a hole into your face. He just doesn't look like he would knock your lights out with one punch, but he absolutely will. Now, Matt Steamroller Fravolda, man, one of my favorite fighters. And it's because of the style. And the reason why is because he's a grinder, dude. Like Michael Chiesa, in your face, nonstop, annoying. You hate to go against these people. That's why I love it, man. And he also trains with my boy Billy Billy Quarantillo. And I don't know if you know who he is, man. He just got a bad loss to Gavin Tucker in his last fight. But other than that, man, it was on a crazy streak. Dude's a grinder. Now, let's just talk about it, man. Matt Fravolda, 2-1-1 in the UFC. Not very competitive, I guess I would say, of a record, right? You know, it's not the worst, 2-1-1, but he has 1 knockout, 3 subs, and 3 decisions under his belt. Ottman Azatar, 10 knockouts, 2 submissions, 1 decision, and he is 3-0 in the UFC. So we got kind of opposite ends of the spectrum here. My first question to you is, Matt Fravolda, his game plan is to get in front of you, to throw big wing punches, to mix up the strikes with the takedown. So we're going to shoot, we're going to level change, and we're going to put a pace on you, man. Do you think that he could take 1 or 2 big shots from Azatar? Because he leaves his chin to get hit. He just walks through him. Do you think he could do that versus Ottman Azatar?
That's going to be the question of the night, because like you said, Matt Fravolda, he is a grinder. And his chin has been tested. He has great heart. He has absolute zero quit, and he's been proven hard to put away. Yeah. Now, can Ottman Azatar put him away? Man, that boy does drop bombs, like you were saying. Well, I mean, with the previous, how we've seen Fravolda's chin tested, and especially against the violent Bob Ross, man, I think Fravolda got better as Luis Pena got better. The harder and the more accurate Luis Pena was in striking him, the more pissed off Fravolda again. He was able to actually channel that anger and grind it out and put it to him, and he literally did. It was a very impressive win. And it went to a split decision, so that fight, it could have gone either way. It was a really good fight. Can he do it? I don't know. Because actually, my question to you, Derick, is, I know you said you're a fan of Matt Fravolda, but do you think he has what it takes to actually make it to the pinnacle of the 155-pound division, or do you think greener pastures lie in a lighter weight? Personally, I think he's a little small, and I think he would do really, really well at 145 or 135. What do you think?
Listen, man, we're talking about the most stacked division in the world, not just the UFC, the world, you know what I'm saying? And with that being said, there's a lot of dudes who deserve to be ranked who are not. And if you see their name, you would think there's a number next to it, and they're not, because you look at the division, you say, oh, that's 155. Okay, makes sense, you know what I'm saying? So in all honesty, to be completely real, no, I don't think that he has the makings of a champion in that division. Like you said, maybe if he dropped down to 145, maybe we could see what's going on there, but maybe he goes up. Man, you know what I'm saying? And maybe he tries to put that pace on some of the bigger boys, you know what I'm saying? But let's talk about the pace really quickly, man, because that's the thing that impresses me the most about him. And I want to read a quote to you, if you don't mind. So this is pre-fight stuff. You know I like that stuff, right? So in this quote, Matt Fravolda, he notes that Azatar hasn't been tested. He says, that's what I do. I test people. I'm looking forward to using my full arsenal of mixed martial arts and really dragging this guy to deep waters and seeing if he could swim, and I plan on drowning him. Now, the reason why this spoke so much volumes to me is because I believe for Ottman Azatar, he has only been out of the first round. Let me see. 3 times in his career, once in his second pro fight in 2014, once in his sole decision win in 2016, and once when it took 3 rounds to knock out his opponent in 2017. So we always say UFC is where streaks come to die. Otman Azatar, he has shown that he can string together those knockouts in a big show, right? But let's be real here. You know what I'm saying? If you get pushed by a grinder 3 rounds, kind of like that, like we was just talking about in the recap, Omari Akhmedov, right? He put a pace on Tom Breeze, but could he have done it for 3 rounds? I really, truly do not believe he could have. And that's the same thing that I'm going to need to see. Excuse me. Just like Francis Ngannou, people always wonder, all right, can he be a real champion, a 5-round type champion, time in and time out? It's yet to see. We don't know because he starches everyone in 30 seconds. And it's a gift and the curse of Otman Azatar, man. When you're knocking everybody out, you never truly get to see what you're made of. You don't know if you have what it takes to kind of climb up those rankings and fight those fights that nobody else wants to take. So that's kind of I hope I answered that question for you, or I went on a tangent or something, man. But with that pace, man, what do you think about that? Do you think the man can handle pace? Do you think Otman Azatar, if he doesn't get it done in the first round, that he's not going to be able to get it done?
I mean, you hit the nail on the head, Derick, and I have it written down right here. The UFC is where streaks come to die. And the last 3 fights that Otman Azatar has had have all ended in round 1. Man, I'm telling you, unless, all the planets align or something like that, you ain't putting Matt Fravolda out in 1. Yeah. That boy, I literally have it. Otman Azatar might have hands of stone, but Fravolda can eat him. He's coming back for seconds. All right, that boy can eat, and he has a granite chin. It's going to be interesting to see because, like we said before, in the last fighters with Amanda Ribas and Rodriguez, pressure is the nullifier of keeping those punches at the end. When the person is willing to eat your shot, but just 2 inches shorter. It doesn't have that pop that you're looking for, and it doesn't have that pop that Zaitar's used to getting. Now, he is putting him out very fast in a lot of his fights, so it's going to be interesting to see. What do you think?
I just have one question for you before we get into our actual picks for it, man. Matt Fravolda, he averages 48 significant strikes and 3.5 takedowns in all of his fights that have gone the distance. Give me the over/under. Is he hitting over or under 3 takedowns in this fight, Matt Fravolda?
I'm going to say over.
Oh, okay.
I think, yeah. I think it's going to be a grind fest for the first round, very high paced, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
So who's your pick? Who's your pick on that one?
So for my pick, I actually got a Zaitar KO round 2.
Oh, okay.
All that shit I was talking about, Matt Fravolda, I do think it's going to be a little much because, man, the one thing you don't want to get known for is having a granite chin, because that means it's been tested a lot. And, like we were saying with the big dude that had his lip busted open.
Oh, you lost me on that
Overeem.
one.
Overeem.
Oh, Overeem. Yeah.
Your chin can only get tested so many times. You know what I'm saying? Granite crumbles eventually. Who do you got?
So, listen, man, I'm going Matt Steamroller Fravolda by decision. I think it's going to be a grind fest, man. And listen, you demoralize people when you take away their cardio. There's nothing more demoralizing than just not being able to breathe and not knowing if you could throw another punch, right? So that's who I got. Let's move on to the next one, man. I'm excited for this one because this is a bad blood match. I talked about bad blood earlier. This is real bad blood. So I got number 6 ranked Jessica Evil Eye versus number 9 ranked Joanne Calderwood fighting, can't talk, at 125 pounds at the women's flyweight limit. Now, let me just give the little beef history real fast over here, man. So I'm pretty sure that Jessica Eye and Joanne Calderwood, they both trained together in Vegas. Not together, but they trained at the same location at the UFC PI, at the Performance Institute, amongst their other locations where they train. And basically the rub is Joanne Calderwood, she don't like how Jessica Eye walks around strutting her stuff, thinking she's hot shit and all that good stuff. She don't like it. And she even went on to say that me and everybody else don't like it. And personally, I don't like that. You don't got to speak for other people. You can speak for yourself. Joanne, she got another one of those tiny, cute voices, but she's a savage. She's a real gangster. You feel me? So Joanne Calderwood basically says, she was quoted saying, I feel like I'm the lucky one because I get to punch Jessica Eye in the face. So here we go. That laid the table out for you right there. Now, Jessica Eye, she's not one to be underestimated, man. She's 5-7-0 in the UFC. Yeah, all right, understandable. 15-8 in her MMA career. She has 3 knockouts, 1 submission, and 11 decision wins. You never really want to see that. You don't want to put it in the hands of the judges like that. Now, Joanne Calderwood, 6-5-0 in the UFC, so, comparable records, but she's 14-5-0 in MMA. 5 knockouts, 1 sub, 8 decisions. Now, my question to this, or to you, AJ, is that Joanne Calderwood, she was actually next in line to fight Valentina Shevchenko, but decided, I'm not trying to sit on the shelf. I need to stay active. I'm going to fight Jennifer Maia. I'm going to get her out of here. I'm going to fight Valentina. Well, she learned the true meaning of big risk, big reward, man, because she risked it and she did not get the biscuit and she got sent back in line to go while Jennifer Maia got starched by Valentina. Yeah, so ultimately, man, do you think that Joanne Calderwood, this is kind of a mismatch? She shouldn't be number 9 in the rankings. Really, she should be the favorite in this fight. What do you think?
I think you're right, Derick. And I guess the question is, would you rather be armbarred or dropped by Valentina Shevchenko? I'll take the armbar, man.
Give me the armbar.
Give me the armbar any day. Now, I think what happened and why she's not the favorite, a lot of people saw, man, she's really in it for the fight. And when the punches start flying, her head movement ceases to exist. Yeah. Literally, she'll be out of range moving. But then once the punches start flying, it's just head stays still and the arms start swinging. And Jessica Eye, man, she's nothing to be toyed with, and she's proven up and down, but she can land some really nice shots. And, I think she's fighting, like you said, a little bit of a chip on her shoulder. Calderwood's talking a little bit of shit. Yeah. And Jessica Eye, she's like you said, she's the cocky peacock. It comes in a little bit, and you get a little bit of that ego going. Now is she actually overmatched? Is Jessica Eye overmatched and kind of the favorites, the numbers aren't leading to the thing? I don't necessarily know because, like you said, they've been training together. They've seen each other. Who knows which actually has the thing, man? But we'll see. I guess time will tell. What do you think?
Well, you know what, man? We need to give a little bit of context, right? Jessica Eye in her fight against Cynthia Calvillo, in her loss against Cynthia Calvillo, man, she missed weight. Right? She missed weight. That was a big deal. And she even just went in the interviews, pre-fight interviews for this week for UFC 257, was talking about, like, how dare y'all not say something? Like, I looked terrible. I shouldn't even taken that fight, which, excuse, world's smallest violin? I don't know. But, legitimately, she was like, I shouldn't have taken that fight. If I look back on it now, I wouldn't have taken it. I would have stepped up and did the thing that was best for me. But she also was like, there was hints that maybe she wouldn't make weight for this fight. So she ended, we'll see what happens on Friday. But listen, man, I think there's context to be in there. She says she had foggy mind, all that good stuff. And listen, when you have a 6-week training camp or however long, the entire point is you have to be your best on fight night. Not through training camp, not when you killing it in the PI, but on fight night. And listen, man, Jessica Eye, like I said, she's nothing to be toyed with, man. I do think she has hands, man. She's a real legit boxer in terms of, like, fundamental boxing in the cage, man. And she has notable wins over Viviane Ahujo. She has a win over Caitlin Chookagian and Chookagian. I always mess up that name. Chookagian, not Chookagian. And Jessica Rose Clark. Now Joanne Calderwood, she got wins over Andrea Lee, Ariane Lipsky, and Courtney Casey. I just want you to tell me, man, who's got the stiffer opposition? Obviously, I mean, Jessica Eye just fought for a title, man. She's fought. You want to talk about the who's who, man? Last 5: Cynthia Calvillo, Viviane Ahujo, Valentina Shevchenko, Caitlin Chookagian, Jessica Rose Clark, man. That's 3-2 with a title fight. The experience factor with Jessica Eye, the mental factor is what I want to talk to you about. I think she's compromised, and all due respect, no disrespect meant here. I think that Joanne Calderwood is in her head because if you watch those pre-fight interviews, you saw Jessica. I was pissed off, dude. She was like, "Yeah, she's over here talking shit," and all this. Joanne Calderwood, she's like, "Yeah, like I don't like her. I'm lucky. I get to punch her in the face. We'll see what happens on Saturday." It's one of those things where I think coming off of a big loss, you know what I'm saying? Like you had a title shot, everything is kind of falling apart. Do you think Jessica Eye pulls a Jose Aldo and tries to just storm up and try to get a knockout on Calderwood I think Calderwood's going to be with the takedowns and all the wrestling and mixing it up perfectly, but that's the Conor McGregor Jose Aldo, right? You got him pissed off, got him fighting in a way he never would have fought before. It led to him getting, starched in the first round. What are your thoughts?
Man, yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Derick. Man, Eye is pissed and Calderwood is chilling, and then that's really the thing of the fight. And I actually think how Eye handles her aggression and her strength is actually one of her downfalls, especially in the last fight against Calvillo. Man, Calvillo was able to use that pressure against her and literally just put it to her. It was impressive, and I think the key to victory for Calderwood lies in the same aspect. Let that anger come, let it roll, and just roll with the punches, use it against her. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say if it'll actually go down that way. But personally, I mean, I think that Calderwood's going to be able to roll, like you said, go better through the transitions, and I's actually going to be a little more crazy and go for it. I kind of got lost in where I was going with that one, Derick. But go ahead with what you were saying before.
Well, I just wanted to give context before we give the picks on it, man. The last little piece that I wanted to hit for Jessica Ai, man, is that she only has 5 takedowns in her career in the UFC, man. So we know she's a striker. And Joanne Calderwood, it's that icing on the cake. She's registered 15 takedowns in her UFC tenure. You know what I'm saying? So these things matter, man. These things matter because when it goes to the ground, like we said, the judges favor the ground so much more than everything else, man. And ultimately, we'll see what happens, but that Cynthia Calvillo fight, last thing I want to say is that Jessica Ai fought the best Cynthia Calvillo there ever has been, man. Cynthia Calvillo notched the most significant strike she's ever landed in her career by a long shot with 113. And Jessica Ai missed weight on that. So excuses, I don't want to talk about all that stuff, but it's stuff that we need to take into account. So I'm going Joanne Calderwood, and I'm going with a decision win. Who you got, my friend?
Man, I'm going the opposite. I'm going Jessica Ai, but with the decision win. I do think it's going to be a scrapper, though.
I think this is a pick'em, man. I like I said earlier, all the context and stuff, but I do think that this is way closer to a pick'em than one fighter being favored. Now, for this next bout, we hit the co-main event here. We got number 6 ranked Dan the Hangman Hooker facing off against Michael Chandler and lightweight. Once again, this is, let me see, we got 3 lightweight fights on this main card, man. And since Michael Chandler I know about him, you know what I mean, just because I'm a degenerate fight fan and I love watching fights everywhere that they take place. But most people don't know about Michael Chandler. I don't want to spend too much time on this fight in terms of breaking it down and introducing Michael Chandler, but I do want to talk about Dan Hangman, 6 foot tall, fighting out of city kickboxing. This dude is a grinder as well. This dude puts on fights of the nights, performance of the nights almost every time that he comes into the octagon versus a Michael Chandler who says, listen, man, if you're a fan, be on the edge of your seat because I only know one speed. And it's true. He has multiple one-hitter quitters on his record. He's a 3-time former lightweight champion in Bellator. But one thing that we all know is that Bellator is the number 2 promotion in the world. You're not fighting the best of the best when you in Bellator. And he even acknowledged that. There was a press conference took place today, actually. When we're recording this on Thursday, January 21st. There was a press conference, and he even said it. I think my resume speaks for itself, but I understand the best opposition right here in the UFC. So you're in the right spot, man. So what I want to ask you is this, man. Listen, Dan Hooker, he averages about 125 significant strikes like in his last 3 fights. This dude is really putting on a pace. If you're Dan Hooker, are you saying, what the hell else do I have to do to get a title shot around here, man? You know what I'm saying? You look at his last 5. Dustin Poirier lost. Maybe if he beat Dustin, he beat a guy fighting McGregor right now. But Dustin Poirier lost. Paul Felder win. Al Iaquinta win. James Vick finish win. And Edson Barboza finish loss. You're 3-2 in that 5, but that's a championship caliber last 5, man. So let me get your honest evaluation on here, man. Do you think Michael Chandler is going to come in here and put on some type of show, and especially versus Dan Hooker? Or do you think that Dan Hooker is going to come on and show that he deserves a championship shot, man? I really think he does.
I think an answer to both your questions, Derick. What does Dan Hooker have to do to actually get noticed? I think if he would have put Dustin away, or even a decision win, because, man, it's hard to put Dustin away, as well as actually not have the split decision against Felder and start those dominant wins, he's actually going to start getting a little more notoriety, especially with the fans. Now, can he just starch Michael Chandler? I think that's kind of what the planets align to. We kind of saw a little bit of this, how this fight can play out with Chiesa and Magny. Okay. Now, is Michael Chandler the wrestler Michael Chiesa was, and is Magny or is Dan Hooker gonna lay back and let what happened, just the pressure stay on top? I don't think Dan Hooker has that in him, especially training out of city kickboxing. He was saying it. He's like, I'm going to get taken down. But the key is getting back up, and this little dude can't hold me down. So that's what I think is going to have to happen, is Dan Hooker's actually going to have that shut up, lights out experience that's going to be able to actually propel him to the next tier of competition. Because Michael Chandler, he is a star, but he's a Bellator star and potentially has, the next. I was going to ask you, do you think Michael Chandler can actually make the impact that he had in Bellator, or is he going to be the next Ben Askren?
My answer is it's yet to be seen. Right now, no. I don't think he can make the same impact, and the reason why is because of his frame, man. He's small, you know. He's not super small. He's like 5'8" or 5'9", right? But he has to, like, listen, you're not getting – how disrespectful is it, man? Let me point this out before I'll just kind of brush through the rest of this stuff. But let me ask you this. How disrespectful is it to have multiple wins where all you do is you feint, step in, right cross to knock somebody out? They say in boxing, man, if you allow someone to just hit you with a blind or right cross – fundamentals is wrong. Something is wrong. That's not high level opposition that is showcasing that type of stuff, man. You're shooting blind. You're not even setting it up. When I saw that multiple times, I was like, bro, this UFC, that's not happening, bro. What are we talking about? So, listen, man, I don't think Dan Hooker is going to be the same Dan Hooker that we've seen in the last couple of fights, because he even said this. He noted it, and this is a quote. My whole approach needs to change. Being a nasty son of a gun that loves to scrap got me this far, but I'm missing a huge piece of the puzzle, the championship mindset. Now, to everybody on this journey with me, I will make the necessary adjustments and be back stronger than ever. I've lost many times, but remain undefeated. So he understands, man. He even said, he was all like, I think I legitimately love to fight more than I love to win. And that's not going to win you a championship. You know what I'm saying? Just being down to scrap ain't going to win you a championship. Now, what I think the difference is going to be in this fight is Dan Hooker's knees. He's tall. Shooting in against a 6 foot tall fighter who's going to bring his knees up to your face every single time, good luck. And the last point that I want to hit, man, is that Dan Hooker, he says, the only reason I'm even fighting this guy, because if you think about it, it's kind of a lose-lose for him, right? If he wins, well, you were supposed to beat him. You're representing the best in the world, right? And if you lose, wow, dude, you let the company down, and Michael Chandler skips you in line for a title shot, right? But this is what he said. Only reason I'm fighting this dude is because Charles Oliveira, a.k.a. Charlie Olives, he can't make weight, or at least he says he can't make weight. He says, Dana, can you believe that? I got broomsticks thicker than that boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like, Dan Hooker is not playing. The way he's spitting with the mouthpiece, he's ready to go. His confidence is high. And for that reason, I'm going a classic Dan Hooker decision war. You know what I'm saying? I'm going a decision war Dan Hooker over Michael Chandler. Who's your pick and why?
Man, Derick, I'm actually really excited for this fight because I do think Dan Hooker deserves a lot more notoriety. But it's just such a stacked division. And personally, you know me, I'm going Hooker, KO, round 1. I'm looking for Chandler to be the next, like I said, the next Ben Askren.
Uncle Askren.
Uncle Ben.
No, right on, man. All right, well, cool. So we've done all of that preparation to finally get here. Probably one of the biggest cards of the year, and it's only January. I'm talking about this will pass through time as being one of the biggest cards this year. So we got Dustin, number 2 ranked Dustin the Diamond Poirier facing off against number 4 ranked Conor McGregor. Number 2, it's the rematch, and this is one of the only times since 2014 that you've seen Conor McGregor be on the B side of the card. This is just for show. We all know Conor McGregor is the real star of the show. And listen, I got all these notes. I'm going to put them away, right? I don't even need these notes because what are we talking about? Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. We saw it once at featherweight. Now we're going to see it at lightweight. I want to hit you with a couple of stats off the bat, and we'll just get into it, right? So what's interesting to me is that Conor McGregor, he has only faced 3 southpaw fighters in his UFC tenure. He's fought Nate Diaz at welterweight. He lost that submission, ended up avenging that with I think it was a split decision, a majority decision or whatever. Dustin Poirier, where he knocked him out and starched him in the first round. And Marcus Brimage, who he also starched in the first round. Now, Dustin Poirier, he's fought 5 southpaws in his UFC career. In contrast, Jim Miller, where he won. Michael Johnson, he lost. He got knocked out. Conor McGregor lost, got knocked out. Eric Koch win, and Jonathan Brookins, where he won and with a submission. So the only 2 fighters to knock out Dustin Poirier have been southpaws, and McGregor is one of those 2 fighters. Now, being that McGregor has that notch in his belt over Dustin Poirier, so much time has passed, 2 completely different fighters. I want to know, man, who is living in whose head rent-free?
Oh man, you know Conor's living nice, feet on the couch in Dustin's head, man. I mean, I think a little bit nod went to Conor when he already reached out to Dustin for the Good Fight Foundation and pitched in a little bit. So there's not the most disrespect anymore. Yeah. But you gotta be upset, man, when you're not getting that kind of shine, man. Because Dustin, he gets a lot of shine, especially with the Khabib fight and the Dan Hooker fight. He gets a lot of recognition from the casual fan as being good, just a stand-up dude, especially in the MMA community. He's just a good cat all around. But man, the lights when Conor McGregor hits the stage are like nothing else. You know what I'm saying? So you have to have a little bit of why is this dude, he's taking all this time off, he's done all this bad shit where I'm living the good life, living clean, living smart, doing the right path, and this dude still comes in and beats the hill. And I mean, you got to give it to Conor, man. He is the ultimate troll. He's the ultimate troll. I don't know if you saw the statements he was saying on Habib, how he actually didn't lose. The belt never got crowned. Him and his boys got taken out. Just all the stuff that he was saying made such a funny, because we were alluding to it before, Derick. A lot of the casual fans, they probably never even watched that fight.
Yeah.
The fights that have had this whole year, there's so many of them, brought so many new attention to the sport. Thank God that they don't go back and watch those other fights, man. There's so many fights to just keep watching. You just start rolling with the punches. You don't even know about it. Yeah. So Conor McGregor was saying all that stuff, and it made him look like even more of a badass. So I think, with that and the media attention, all this stuff, man, he's living nice in Poirier's head. What do you think?
So listen, man, Conor McGregor knows how to sell fights, man. And when it's Dustin Poirier's show, he's the A side, and they get to the press conference, and first question is for Conor McGregor. All right, take a back seat, homie. You know what time it is. So the thing that I like most about Dustin Poirier is he's matured so much as a man, as an individual, not even as a fighter, as just a man, an adult. You know what I'm saying? And one of my favorite quotes from him is that, listen, man, he's a blue-collar cat. Life isn't fair, but he gets 25 minutes in the cage to make life fair. And I love that quote, because no matter win or lose, man, he's going to give you a fight. He's not going to go away easily. And that's basically what I want to talk about with this fight. We know what there is to know about Dustin Poirier. We know he's going to walk forward. We know he's going to throw big shots at you, and we know that he connects at about a 50% clip, man, and which is on par with Conor McGregor. They both throw at 50% clips. So the question that comes down is this, man. Does ring activity, is the familiarity in the cage enough to have an edge over Conor McGregor, who it really feels like he doesn't even need the ring time? He said it in the press conference. He's like, man, one of the things I was most mad about is that I finished Cerrone in 40 seconds. He's like, I wanted to dance in there, man. I wanted to, go in there and get a little bit of, just kind of move around and get that feeling. And I can't get it. And they don't want to book me with a bunch of fights because it's too expensive. I asked for too much money, so they have to put me on a pay-per-view or else it's not profitable. So it's like with Conor, he's asking for 7 fights in a year or whatever the case, something crazy. And in the reality is that it's only going to be big fights from here on out, man. So ultimately, the question becomes this, man. Conor McGregor with his 19 knockouts, Dustin Poirier with his 12 knockouts. Does this fight go the distance?
Derick, I actually think it does. I really do, man. Just because the weight class has jumped up. I mean, we saw it with Conor when he went to 170.
Yeah,
he wasn't able to put the power on, and that left hand is a dynamite stick. But man, Nate ate those shots. Yeah. Try saying that 3 times fast. Nate ate those shots, man, like nothing. And I think with how Poirier handled Dan Hooker and handled that aggression, was able to go the distance with that. If he didn't put him to sleep, I don't think Conor's doing it either. And I do think it's going to last the 3 rounds. Now, my question to you, Derick, is answer that as well. Do you think it's going to last the full 5? Or also, second question, do you think Conor's actually invested in it? Because like you were saying, man, he's good with the media. He's good with all this stuff. He needs a little ring time. He's a really good talker and an amazing salesman. Mm-hmm. But is the old school Conor fighter there, the Jose Aldo one-drop knockout fighter there? What do you think? Well,
the first question that you asked, whether it'll go the distance or not, it's the quote we love using on here, man. Timing beats power, precision beats speed. But there's one thing Conor McGregor got, it's precision. It's not necessarily about the pop on it. It's the precision. It's that Dustin Poirier leaves himself out there to get hit, and when Conor hits, he hits in that spot that puts people away, man. We don't know. It's Mystic Mac. We don't know how he does it. He just does it. And he's predicting a knockout within 60 seconds. So you know he's really going to be dropping that left hand. Well, is it going to happen? I honestly don't think so. I don't think you're getting Poirier out of there that easily. I think just pure will. He's not going to allow that to happen. Now, is he invested, man? So that's something I spent a lot of time asking myself. And this whole week, I've spent all week trying to figure out ways to justify Dustin Poirier winning this fight. And I can't. And the reason why is because with Conor McGregor, man, let's just look at this, dude. He has 19 knockouts in his 22 fights. He is 10-2-0 in the UFC. His one loss, one of those losses came when Nate Diaz with that welterweight fight, and then Khabib when he got choked out, right? Since 2016, he really took a break. It was either 2016 or 2018. He took like a break, and he had a real hiatus. So that's the part that really makes me wonder. But when you see him talk, and obviously talk is cheap, right? But he's saying like, listen, man, man. I think he's learning it truly. He's like, money, that comes and goes. Cars, all the materials, that comes and goes. Belts, whatever. But you know what lasts forever? Highlights. I want a movie-long highlight reel. I want to be the Muhammad Ali, the Mike Tyson, the Roy Jones Jr.'s of the world, the Floyd Mayweathers. I want to be that guy. And when he's focused on legacy the way that he's talking right now, man, I'm expecting fireworks. I'm expecting a show of a show. And he even said, he was like, man, why y'all trying to get rid of me, man? I love this game. I helped build it. I'm still trying to fight. Like, don't get rid of me yet. I'm young. I'm getting it. I just, this is the last crazy stat before I give you my pick on this one, man. Did you know that Conor McGregor, this is only his third fight at lightweight?
It's crazy, right?
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. You think he's been fighting forever at lightweight, but correct me if I'm wrong, he started off at 35?
Yeah, so he went 35, 45, got the belt at 45, got the belt at 55. When he was in, what was he in before? Cage Warriors or whatever the case may be, where he made his name. He was a double champ there too, right? And so what did he say recently too? He says, listen, man, you know what the double champ does? He becomes the double champ, he loses it, then he becomes the double champ again. We're doing it twice, baby. So I'm going Conor McGregor, man. And you know what? I'm going to decision win based off of my respect out of Dustin Poirier. But we're going to see a lot of things come into play here. And one of those things is, do you think Conor McGregor, if it's really close, you think they're going to give him a loss? If it's really close, honestly?
No, I think especially, it's the Conor McGregor show. I think if the judges have their way, Uncle Dane is going to make some money and Conor's going to be the winner. So we alluded to this in private, but go ahead.
No, so we know this, though, truly. You know this and I know this. UFC, I love it. I love the fights. I love the competition. But we know it's entertainment, man. A big portion of it, they're trying to get, if McGregor loses, that stock drops, things start getting weird. We need him to keep it rolling, keep bringing the money in, especially, like I said, no fans, all that. Why are there millionaires, billionaires, getting these 3-package fights for this week? Why? Because Conor McGregor is fighting. That's why. That's how all the other cards sell. So when it comes down to Conor McGregor partially made the UFC what it is today, man, they're going to take care of him. So that's my pick. Who are you going with and why?
Man, this is actually a very difficult decision for me to make. Now, I truly think this fight can go any number of ways, even a Porier knockout. I mean, who knows? It's absolutely insane. I think, man, it's a hard one because I think Conor's super excited to be back, and you can actually see that. And when you don't have what you want, and you get it again, you keep it. Mm-hmm. And I think you were alluding to with the double champ is a double champ again, man. He really is excited to go. But personally, I got Porier by decision. I think it's going to be a war, and I think the Conor McGregor gas tank that we are used to seeing with the excitement and the fans finally back and, 2021 going, he might burn a little gas early, and we know Porier is going to be there for the long haul. Yeah. And personally, I've seen a Conor McGregor that's a little more, I don't know, I'm going to use the word lax. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's necessarily the best word for it, because giving the nod to the fact that he actually donated to the Good Fight Foundation, I don't think old Conor would have done that. I think he would have given the donation, but not said it. I think he would have kept that, played that heel. And I think that shows a little bit both to the growth as a human being, which is good for Conor, but necessarily not the best for the troll that we need in the UFC. But like I said before, I'm going Porier with the decision.
Well, listen, man, I think that while that's all said and done, I do think that this does have the potential to be the same thing that we saw Holloway versus Cater. You know what I mean? Like, everyone kind of was the questions on Holloway. Can he do it? Is he already was the champ for so long. What else does he have to prove? And then what happened? You know what I'm saying? He put on the best performance of his career. So it's things to think about, man. And that's pretty much, we got it, man. That's the main card. That's the sleepers. That's all of the good stuff that you need to be prepared for UFC 257, man. And I gave mine earlier, but give me what yours is going to be for fight of the night, AJ.
Yeah, I was about to jump in, Derick, and I actually got the last fight as the fight of the night, strictly because, man, it's the UFC. Connor's getting that bonus. You already know.
Give me another one though. Give me one that's
another one. Actually, I was very excited for that Hebos fight.
Yeah.
Man, the way she's talking in the pressers and just kind of the style she has, and she got a little. I'm gonna look at the actual stats. In the Randa Marcos fight next up against the Paige Van Zandt fight. Mm-hmm. Amanda Hebus got a little, and with all due respect, a little thick.
Yeah.
Like, her shoulders filled out, her legs filled out, and man, she looked strong. And I'm really excited to see, because Marina Rodriguez is very very sharp and very long, and it's going to be a different, a blunt damage with a Hebos coming in, the strong, powerful one, versus a very sharp Rodriguez. And I do think that one also has a potential to be fight of the night.
Well, there you go, folks. You got your fights of the night. You got everything that you need. What more can we do for you? Well, listen, do us a favor in exchange. Leave a comment below. Drop a like. Go share this with your grandma. I don't care who you do it with. Put them on to all the good fight talk and all that good stuff. So, listen, man, give us a follow on Twitter, AFC Fight Talk. But most importantly, we have a new website. Check us out at allfactorsconsidered.com. We're no longer allfactorsconsidered.com. It'll all be in the show notes below. You know what time we do it. You know what time it is. So, listen, folks, that's all we got for you this week, man. And then I'll catch you on Fight Night, AJ. And, folks, I hope that y'all is tuning in as well. Until next time, folks. Peace.